Okay, all right, guys. Hello, Trainer Caroline here. So what we're working on with Sadie right now, which you guys can easily practice and do with her however many times you want throughout the week. And you can use her dinner for this, her breakfast for this. You can use special treats, whatever you want to do. But that name recognition, right, and some leash pressure. So I'm just going to get right in front of her. Off. And that we're going to do off and pull, all right, away from you, okay, or downwards you can. But I'm going to say her name, and then I'm going to explode backwards to make it really fun and exciting for her to look at me, okay? And then you can catch before she jumps if you want. Catch her, pull her back like I just did. So anyways, so I'm going to say her name, yes, and jump back, reward her, and over and over and over again. So she thinks her name is really like this explosive, fun, awesome thing. And that's one way I create a lot of engagement with the dog. Now, we don't want her dependent on seeing the treats. We are going to lure her for like sit and down and place and all that stuff, but we're going to add in leash pressure, and I'm going to go over all of that in a second. But I am going to hold treats in my hand right now just for ease of really getting the reps in and getting it to her quickly for her name rec, okay? So watch this here. Ready? Sadie, yes, good girl. Oh, I dropped a treat that way. Good girl. Here, there you go. We're just going to do it again and again and again. She doesn't have to sit. Sadie, yes, good. But I'm building a lot of value in her name by adding this emotional response. Saying, yes, good job. And moving backwards. This will help build a recall later. So when we say, Sadie, here, right, or something like that. So, and we'll go over that too. Okay, but you can see how excited she is, right? Good girl. Sadie, yes, good job. Good. Now I have one more treat left in here. I'm going to do it one more time with the treat in my hand, but then I'm going to get rid of that and I just have my pouch, okay? So, let's see. Sadie, yes, good job, good. So feed. Now no food, I'm going to do all the same things, but this time I can't feed her very quickly, so I'm just going to say yes and then grab it, give it to her. But that's how you show her, you can still do your name even though I don't have food in this hand, right? Name is just look at me, that's all, right? It doesn't mean come to me or come here, right? It just means just look at me. I need your attention because I need to tell you another command maybe. Sadie sit, Sadie down, Sadie here, Sadie spin, Sadie roll over, etc. Okay? Sadie, yes, good girl. Yeah, good girl. What a good girl. And then I can make it fun with this treat and kind of guide her and tease her, maybe roll it a little bit. All of that adds a lot of value to her name. Now I'm winded. Okay, so that's what you guys can do for her name. All right? And with that, we want to move on now so I can make this video not too long for you. Let's do leash pressure. So leash pressure is a whole language, right? You're not even going to hear me say sit or down right now. She's going to hear the leash. So it's like the leash is talking to her in a certain direction, all right? And it's very important dogs like her who are going to end up being very strong learn leash pressure. And she can do this on the gentle leader for your walk, but don't use the gentle leader for like sit down, maybe for place. We can figure that out as guests come over and stuff. Good girl. But right now we're just going to use this slip leash for sitting down, teaching leash pressure. So it's basically just pressure is going to come on straight up for the sit, and I'm not even going to say sit. I'm just going to put pressure on first. Then I'm going to get a food lure out, right? I'm going to put this right to her nose, and then I'm going to guide her into the position so she learns how to turn this pressure off, right? So I don't let go of the leash, I just turn the pressure off. So this is for the sit position, okay? Then we're going to add our word and such, right? So pressure up, lure. Yes, good girl. And I say yes and let her explode out of that position right now, just so there's a lot of value in listening to this leash. We're going to talk about building the stay, and what I use, I say good. That means I'm going to come to you and give you a treat and you stay in that position, okay? Different than the yes, all right? So, and we're going to also talk about freeing her. Yes, good girl. So free is you can get out of that position. There might not be a food reward. You can have a life reward, like go sniff, go, do your doggy hobbies and whatnot, right? So yes is always treat. Pressure, lure, yes, good girl. All right, so let's do this a couple times. Pressure, lure, yes, good girl. Good. So basically, dogs have an opposition reflex, yes, and that's to avoid pressure, right? Or they feel pressure one way and then they go in the opposite direction. So like, good girl. Just like that, actually, she gave into the pressure, which is what my goal was a little bit. Give into the pressure, don't go in the opposite direction of the pressure. So horses are trained like this. Good girl. So pressure up, lure. Yes, good girl, good. So over and over and over and over until I can maybe test out just the pressure, no food lure. Okay, so it's gonna look like this. Yes, good girl, right? I do have a treat in my hand just to make it quick for her, but I'm not showing it to her, right? I'm not flashing it in front of her and saying, hey, sit, 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 sit. She probably will, but you don't want to get dependent on that because then dog is only going to perform if they see you have food in your hand like this. Keep it in your hand for quickness of delivering the treat if you want to, but rely more on your leash, right? Like this. Yes, good girl, good. And then you're just delivering the payment, right, instead of a bribe, okay? So let's talk about it for down. It's the same idea. The only thing is the pressure is gonna be downwards like this, nice and steady downwards. So I want her ideally to be on all four paws when you do this. That'll be easier for her and more clear versus being in a sit and then going into a down. Some dogs are fine like that, but since she's young, you can start this early. And I'm just keeping her engaged and entertained right now, puppy brain, right? So downwards pressure first, okay? And just plant your feet, get your lure out. Yes, good. And then yes, and explode, okay? So watch this over and over, all right? Hi. Downwards pressure, plant your feet so you don't follow her around. Yes, good girl, good. You're a nice girl. Good job, puppy. Pressure, lure. Yes, good girl. I'm gonna do this a couple more times over and over and over because it's hard to understand pressure sometimes. Pressure, lure. Yes, good. Mark and explode. Good job. Pressure, lure. Yes, good job. And you don't have to say pressure and lure. I'm just saying it to help you guys. Good girl. Hi. Pressure, lure. Yes, good. Good job, Sadie. So let's do it 2 more times, and then I'm gonna test out, does she understand the pressure? Pressure, lure. Yes, good. Good girl. Good girl. Pressure, lure. Yes, good girl. Might be a little tricky for her right now, so I'm not gonna have food in my hand, but I'm gonna give her a little hand signal. I'm just gonna fake treat, right, and put my hand towards the ground, okay, with pressure though, all right? So, pressure. Yes, good girl. Now I grab a treat and reward her. Good job. Over and over and over again. So let's do it. We can mix in our pressure for sit, yes, and for down, okay? So let's see what that looks like. Good job, Sadie. Good girl. So pressure for sit, yes, good. And right now I'm rewarding pretty frequently, every single time, because it's like she's learning ABCs, right? I want her to know, yep, you're getting every letter of the alphabet correct, right? It's like kindergarten. So I just gotta let her know right now, yes, absolutely, you'll get reinforced every time you listen to this leash pressure. And later, we go on this intermittent schedule of reinforcement, which is, I might ask you, we might try it right now real quick so you can see it. 3 sits in a row, and then I reward you, right? So it's not every single time, okay? And that's how you get a dog who gambles with you during training, which is really, really good. They're like, oh, I don't know when I'm gonna get paid. I should still keep listening to this person, right? And typically 3 behaviors and then reward is the standard. You could maybe go up to 4 and 5 and then, go from there. But let's see, I'm just gonna show you real quick what that would look like. Intermittent rewarding, okay? For sit. So pressure. Good girl, free. And I'm gonna say free to her. Good girl, free. So free as you can move, but there's no food reward involved. This one, yes, good. Now I give her a yes and a good, right? And then I give her the treat, okay? So that's 3 behaviors. Good girl, good job. So again, good girl, free. Good. Good job, free. There you go, your smarty pants. Yes, good, yes. Here comes your food, okay? So that's intermittent rewarding. That's looking good for the leash pressure, so we'll continue to do that. Probably for down, I would keep rewarding it every single time because it's a little bit harder. Down is always harder for dogs.